I first started having where my hands were just shaking like this. And so everybody noticed it. I didn't seem to notice it at first. So I went to the PCP, and then she referred me to a neurologist. And he wasn't quite sure if it was Parkinson's or they have me diagnosed as Parkinsonism, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Because he don't know if it's the medication I'm on that's causing it or not. And I guess they'll never determine that because I've used this medication for so long. Yeah, I could be standing still, and all of a sudden, I just lose my balance. I can usually catch myself. I never usually fall. I can't remember an incident where I fell, but I lose my balance. I have to, like, it's real noticeable.
So you would say that you lose your balance backwards, like taking a few steps backwards?
Yeah.
So when you say I catch myself, you take a few steps and you regain balance again.
Yes, right? Yes.
Okay. And this never happens forward. It's always backwards.
It seems like it is backwards. Yeah.
Can you recall a situation where this happens, and if you associate it to the fact that maybe someone is talking to you or you're doing an additional task?
No. I could be standing around listening to somebody, and I would lose my balance.
So someone talking to you and you listening actively to them, right?
Yes.
So that is considered doing something else. So it's like your attention is focusing on what that person is saying, and that on its own is studied to influence balance.
Okay.
So it's like your brain is focusing so much on what is being said that he loses resources to focus on the balance.
Okay.
If you don't have Parkinson, then you are able to keep both things going because one of them is actually automatic. So it's not like you're doing two things, it's automatic that you are able to stand up and then divide your attention to something that's happening. Is how focused are you on what's happening, what's the activity. So different things, which would be if you're listening to someone, if you are talking, do you think the same thing happens?
Yes, definitely.
It might be hard to distinguish which one would be more difficult.
Probably talking, if I'm talking to somebody, although I'm a really good listener. I do better listening than coming up with words for people.
High five to that. I'm a good listener too, I think. Let's think about other situations, like imagine holding something in your hand. Would that also influence?
I find myself lately dropping things. I drop things so often that but like when I reach over to pick something up, I usually drop it. And it gets really irritating to have to keep stooping over and picking things up or breaking things.
Yeah. Or you'd consider that if you're in standing position, the probability of dropping something would be bigger.
Yeah. Like getting a dish done from up on the second shelf of a cabinet. I've done that. I've dropped it. It just fell right out of my hand.
So there are some strategies that sometimes help, because from just what I'm hearing, and the more we get to know you, the more we'll be accurate in what we say. But for now, from what I've heard, there might be the challenge of balance makes your brain having to make decisions about which activity to prioritize. And so if you are in the standing position with the dish, he's actually taking a very wise decision, which is focus on your balance, not to fall. Because it's interesting, you said you've never had a fall, right? So that means he's actually taking the right decisions always to help you regain your balance or to keep your balance. And by that, he's compromising your ability to hold stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So because sometimes we know people that they are constantly falling and they have something in their hands, so they keep onto it. You see, so there the brain is taking that decision in a negative way. Well, obviously this is always negative, but we have to find ways to bypass this. And I would probably suggest, imagine if you are taking the dishes out, if this hand, if it's possible, this hand being just touching a table in front of you,
yeah,
it will give you a reference where you are in space. And so that will reduce the challenge of balance. And then maybe you can grasp on better with the hand. You see, so sometimes it's about analyzing in what situations does it really happen? And is it possible for us to do something about it, to just change it a bit?
Mm-hmm.
Probably if we increase more that strategy, like you heard how much we focused about opening up and widening the base of support in our talk, about keeping the feet wide, and that gives you a more sense of balance.
Yes.
Did that make sense to you? Is it something that you already do? Because if your feet are wide apart and you're doing this and you're losing balance, it's because probably at the hip you are not bending enough forward, which sounds weird in Parkinson, right? Because usually in Parkinson disease, to the definition of Parkinson, people are afraid of bending forward, right? That image that we have of Parkinson.
Yeah.
But as you said in the beginning, the doctor's probably suspecting of Parkinsonism. I don't know if I said it right. And there's some characteristic features of Parkinson are actually the opposite. And so the interventions that we use will be strangely like, why not do this small? Why not bend forward? And then people, this is what everyone tells me to do, the opposite. No, it's really about analyzing the movement. So I wonder if there is any possibility that we might ask you for maybe a video of you walking or doing something around the house. Is that possible?
Okay, this is me walking.
Oh, I'm imagining you also do exercise at home?
Let's put it this way. I have a lot of exercise equipment and I'm always buying it. But if you saw my exercise room, you would wonder why I don't exercise. I have everything imaginable.
Mm-hmm. What would you think would be your main barrier to doing exercise? What do you think? It's like you don't feel like it, you don't believe in it?
It's hard to get motivated by yourself. It's not that I don't have the time, because I'm retired, and it's so hard to do it by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you had somebody that I had a friend. Well, I do have a friend in Ohio, in the next state over, and we were gonna start exercising together, by phone. And that just never happened. That was the beginning of the year. And both of us just fell short. But it's hard with somebody further away that you're not seeing face to face.
Yeah.
If I'm busy, like the day before doing a lot of activity and really worked myself from early in the morning to late at night. Then the next 2 days, I can't do anything. I'm so exhausted.
So it's really about finding the right dosage, doing something that makes you feel better and that doesn't take away the rest of the day, right?
Yeah,
In terms
and
of fatigue.
I just don't have a balance with that either.
You know, so balance is, I would say, a tremendous challenge for everyone. I think any therapist or health professional is like, you know, what do you do with balance? Because it has to be so intense that your brain gets used to that challenge. That because the best way to train balance is to unbalance yourself. And how can you do that on your own without hurting yourself? So it's very difficult for us to prescribe exercise for the person to do at home that will truly challenge your balance without putting you at risk. So it's great that you are doing the physiotherapy twice a week, because that's the moment where you will focus most on that. And then the things that you can do at home that will help you is if you are able to increase your physical capacity, that means you'll get less tired. And if you get less tired, it will probably affect less your balance, because I'm imagining if you are feeling really exhausted, then you're compromising more your balance. So indirectly, it will help you. And then it's just, how can we find ways to give you a little bit of each of this? So how can I challenge balance? So doing something in the standing position that you feel that you have your hands on, so that it's safe. Do you want to also take a picture of your gym, your marvelous gym, so that we can see what's there, that maybe we can enhance the engagement of it?
Okay.
Some, you know, riding bicycles, sometimes it's boring, I think. I don't know if you agree.
I have that, yeah.
So maybe if you ride in the bicycle and you are engaged in another activity, it will actually help you stay longer on the bicycle, but it will also challenge you this capacity to divide attention with movement and thinking and doing something else. So that might be transferable to other things that you do in daily life without us specifically training, taking out the dishes.
Okay.
But that's even if you find those interesting ways to do exercise at home, maybe finding a friend that might actually be, you know, willing to do it with you as well. And she might also find it fun, you know, she or he might find it fun to do it with you. If it's maybe like a competition, sometimes that makes it more interesting. And then you can buy each other coffee. You can have all these sorts of benefits. Well, like if I win, you're going to clean my living room next week. Kind of that type of situation.
Yeah, there you go. I was with somebody yesterday and they said they wanted to gain weight. I said, here, you can have some of mine.
I'll email it to you right away.
Download the attachment. Yes.
So I think we'd start off by if getting some pictures of the environment, getting some ideas about how you move around, and then we can come back again and we can discuss maybe strategies that you can use that might help you in those situations, and what type of exercise activity would make more sense to help you. And so that would be the plan.
Okay.